So does that replace this then, or do we
Putting
still
a
need this?
solid waste fee on that.
construction?
100%, or are they doing it only at 100%?
Sure.
Oh, what percent of
I think
completion?
June was 90.
It was 90% is what we were told
So
last.
if you can get something like this.
That
Can we
Put it
change
on.
that?
Still
And would we
construction.
want to?
Yeah, that would, and then you, that would be up to you, and you tell us, and then we'll do it.
Would we want to change, Brian, the percent of complete from 90%? Is that pretty accurate since it's going to
I've
household
never
waste
used
by
the
then?
90%.
Okay,
I've
would-
said 50
You said
Okay.
50? Okay.
along the road. We could go to 10, I don't really care.
But then that's if you're not using the solid waste construction fee.
That's what I'm
'Cause
saying.
I think that's
You
what.
can't double it.
90%
You can't
complete.
double it. You can't.
90%
Well, as I
complete
say,
for
if-
domestic.
If we charge $200 or $250 for a solid waste permit before they begin construction, and then at 10% of construction, they get billed 128, you're probably collecting enough to cover the waste of the construction of the house.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, okay.
And again, it's for a year, most homes are
yeah,
done in.
and then by the
in a
time they're
year.
done with that, they're residential trash anyways.
So you're saying at 10% we should be putting it on?
If we can do that.
Do you think you're gonna get pushback from the public on that?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Do they not generate garbage?
No, but if you have the construction fee that you're charging, I'm just saying, how are you going to explain yourself to the public when they say, okay, I just paid this construction fee, and 2 weeks later, my house is at 10%, and now I'm going to be assessed this
Because you won't get the bill.
But the
till
128 is
bill
not
till
gonna
the
show up
following
for a
November.
year.
till the, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah,
The 128 doesn't show up for a year, right?
So by then, they'll be past the 10%.
Yes. They'll be living in their house throwing away garbage.
Right.
True.
Instead of waiting until
Instead
they're
of waiting.
90% done
I've-
and already moved in.
I've found houses that
Right.
have been 10, 15 years that have never had solid waste.
Mhm.
And that,
but we're changing that.
we are.
We're correcting it.
About people that have double wides moving in, you know that right away.
That's a whole different.
If they
Is
get a
it
moving
double
deck.
wide or is it a single
Well,
wide
yeah,
with an
that's a whole
addition?
other mobile home discussion, because they come and go sometimes.
And a lot of them don't fill out moving decks, so we don't know if they're being moved in or out, or.
Just like that one.
The other one that,
Come in
That was
and
a
said,
funny draft.
the trailer's gone.
I
Did you
think
get a
with-
moving deck?
Yeah.
with the solid waste permit, we may be able to address the other issue that goes on around here. And that's people that are kind of snowbirds, they live in their RV, they're not paying any solid waste fees. Because you can't assess solid waste fees to an RV.
Right.
Mhm.
So if we
All
say,
summer long when they're down.
yeah,
they're
or
down here.
like the guy that's living in his at Toston, that just sits there year round, he's not paying a dime. So that may be a way to get them, if we get their address, we can just send them a bill and say, here's your solid waste fees for living where you're living.
Would you do the 128 then,
Do
bill-wise?
whatever I can get away with.
But they don't fill out a,
They
We
put
don't
out
know how
the
to check those,
But
right?
we,
Septic.
well, there's
Some
5
of
of them
them
right
have
across from the
septics.
Silos Junction Bar. Right behind Earl Campbell's house,
Right.
there's 4 or 5
they don't have
RVs
4 on one lot. It's
Yeah.
illegal.
that they live there all summer long and
Don't pay any fees.
don't pay any fees for anything.
Doug Ellis sent me sent Don Reynolds actually, a deal, and it has, solid waste for 6 months. Have you ever seen those?
What that was created for was seasonal people. Most of them were out at Goose Bay Marina, when they had the mobile homes out there. They would pay a 6-month fee because they were only there for 6 months. Or if somebody has a cabin up in the mountains, you know, that they can't get to in the wintertime, they pay a 6-month fee.
Would that,
Wouldn't that work?
That would be a way to do it, but you can't assess a fee to a mobile home or to a.
No, because it's not on, because it doesn't go into our system, because
Can't
it's
you
a
send a
mobile
bill?
home.
I could
So
send
we
them a
don't-
bill if we.
We
track
don't
them.
value it, we don't put like a value on it, so it doesn't go into the Orion systems, hence it won't go into Black Mountain, so
But
there's
that's
no
an
way
account
to
that's already
put a fee
set
on
up.
it.
you know?
but short of literally going to their door and saying, here's
Yeah.
your bill.
Yeah.
You don't know their address,
No.
because their address could be Yuma, Arizona.
Their address is wherever they happen to have
Uh-huh.
their RV parked in the post office box, they go get the mail.
Right.
A good number of those folks though do have, well, I don't know about a good number, but I do know several that have the septic field so that they don't have to worry about that, they park their RV. So with getting the septic permit, that's an opportunity to have, again, one line that says, if you're here for 6 months or just living in a trailer, here's your fee, and we have their address. So it's an option that we can
So I
put
think
into
that
the
the idea of
ordinance.
creating a permit is probably a good one. You know, and, you know, we could generate them and send them to everybody that's paying solid waste fees too, so that everybody in the district knows, oh, we got a permit, we better take this with us. But it's an additional cost.
So you board members might have a little work ahead of you. I'm glad you came.
Rather than board anything. Board members.
Board members, huh?
So what do you think? Is there more we need to talk about? Have we missed anything?
I have a question. If this were, you know, if you guys were to start this, how would Department of Revenue get notified that this has been filled out?
Thank you. We should be sending you some kind of a notification,
Email it to
Copy of the permit.
a report,
Some sort
Is
of
that-
report would be the best, I would think.
yeah?
Well, I think,
Won't the permit all have all the permits will have a number, right?
well, we could put a number on here. I didn't put a number on here, this is,
I know
this is
that,
a rough
but
draft.
we added the solid waste thing, which is the construction permit, and that'll have a number.
No, that would be a solid waste permit, it wouldn't be a construction permit, solid waste
I know,
permit,
that's what I'm saying, but there'll be a number,
a solid waste permit number.
right,
Yeah.
on that form.
Yeah.
So there is a number that revenue could go back to.
But how would that?
But how would they know that? So,
How would you
with
like it?
this,
I'll make a copy.
we'd have to work out the nitty gritty, but if I were to receive this, so we could, not to put that on you, but you're the first line that people generally come to.
Or address.
Or address.
Or one or the other.
So I would keep these, and I would keep a pile of your solid waste permits. And so when someone comes in and says, okay, I need to build, we have a packet of essentially 4, maybe 5 documents if they're on a county road. So they would be getting a septic permit application, an address application, a solid waste application, this notice of intent to construct, and if applicable, a county road driveway or county road approach, county road driveway approach permit. So that would be their packet
Their pack.
that they would receive. You could give me this form along with the address application, and I could just start an Excel spreadsheet. Because if I have everything on here, and it would be the onus of the contractor to put this in, and then at every Friday, I would just email it to whomever in the DOR, to you, and I guess that would be it. Just so people know what's going on. And then it's up to each individual office to do with that data what they want. But to put it in, it's, you know, and that's where it goes back to the whole, you know, my reporting doesn't mesh with DOR reporting. We need to have something where we can communicate this information. So to put this in, literally would take, you know, less than 5 minutes to pop in the name, address, check the box for septic permit, solid waste permit. But then I'm shipping it off to you, and I'm not going, and not saying that you would, but I'm not tracking down solid waste people to say, hey, you didn't pay your fee, hey, you didn't, you know. It's up to each individual department head to do what they wish with that data, but I could input it.
Or you could even just top it under a box upstairs,
Mhm.
whatever it seems
Make a
best.
copy of them.
Make the copy and just put it in a box.
Yeah, and everybody can have their own spreadsheet, but if I have the spreadsheet and then just every Friday,
Yeah.
just make it a habit to email, but I can also give everyone a copy of it so you can see what's going on.
I think that would work good.
And that, I mean, that wouldn't be cumbersome at all, and that's what I'm just trying to simplify this for everyone, so.
Well, it gives the Department of Revenue an idea that there's gonna be a house built there, that they can go out and check.
Right, and so then it would be up to you to, you know,
Yeah,
and
then
obviously
once we
there's
get
changes,
that,
I'll track
well,
those.
we go into Orion and we can open up a building permit in our system, and that's how we track that, I pull a report of all the building permits, and it will come up, and then we can go out and pick it up.
It's really not a building permit, we wanna make sure.
Not a building permit, but a permit, our.
I know, I really want, yeah, this is not a building
Sure.
permit, this is a
We
notice
just
of
open
intent.
up a permit.
Right.
That's the name of our little
Intent.
tab is a permit, and we can just open it up, that way we have something, you know. So whether it's a septic permit, electric permit, or that piece of paper, we would be able to open up that permit, and that way we can track that. That property has something going on, we need to get an appraiser out there.
Notice to intent to construct, not a permit.
Attempt to construct.
Attempt. Oh,
There's a lot of those too, isn't there? They're attempting.
On buildings, it would be like apartment complexes and stuff. Would they be assessed at that time,
The number of units.
the number of units too?
Yep.
Yeah.
We'd start paying on that soon.
And you can build that into your solid waste permit, essentially you can build whatever you want, do a solid waste permit with your board, and then
Multiple family, single
the
family.
commission can approve it, yeah.
Commercial versus residential, yeah,
Agricultural.
yeah. Yeah, honestly.
So, to move forward on this, I think an ordinance is pertinent unless you see another avenue that we should take for adoption of this.
Oh, I like the ordinance. What do you guys think?
Okay,
I have to go, I have a septic inspection.
All right, thanks, Julie. Appreciate your input.
New construction, get on that.
Get on that, just follow her out there.
So do you think we should wait until we have the solid waste permit in place first? How do we proceed? You know, because we wanna have the solid waste permit information on here to make sure that they've applied for it. How long do you think it would take you to build and approve a solid waste permit application? I'm not putting you on the
At
spot,
our next meeting,
just
Our next
asking.
meeting is next
Tuesday.
Tuesday. so
Okay,
Probably by the end of the month.
okay. So do you think we should wait until they have that built before we do this? Or do you wanna proceed with this and then amend this to add the solid waste permit information?
I think we should do it in one step. I
One
think
step.
it'll be clearer for everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good with you guys.
Mhm.
But I think we have a skeleton to work off of. I think this is great.
Well, and I think we could do kind of a tiered approach too if we have to for, size of construction. If they're building a McMansion, we'll charge them more. If they're building a simple, single-family structure, charge them 1 fee.
Mhm.
Would we know that from this application?
No, that would
Usually
be-
people know how big of a house they're gonna build before they build.
So we'll have to build that into
Like a
this.
price per square foot
Yeah.
type deal.
And that could be put in here, if your home is over 5,000 square feet, this is your fee. If it's under, this is your fee. Commercial, 6-month fee. I mean, you guys could have a whole, couple of choices for people to X off and then sign that they have
You
acknowledged.
need to be
They
careful
receive
with the
the
6-month fee,
Yeah,
because people say, oh, I'm just building a cabin, I'm only gonna use it 6 months out of the year, and then
And
you
then
find out, oh, we're having a
year
Christmas
round.
party there, or they use
Sure.
it year round, and,
Or they build a shed and then they put the RV inside it.
yeah.
Mhm.
okay.
So that's where he lived in Washington State. They traveled and he had property in the town he lived in and he just had built a shed.
There's a lot of that out at the silos.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He drives it in and lives in it.
Went out there for a garage sale one day.
It's surprising, isn't it?
Huge pole
It is.
barn structure with one side of it is just all bedrooms, and a kitchen, and, this is a house.
It's a shop.
Yeah, maybe you guys could come up with something for that, that's not the 6-month, but also leaves those
Well,
people
we
paying
brought
their
up-
fair share.
We have a way, if somebody is not happy with the fee, they can come and fill out a complaint that we review, and then we work with them. We already have that in the system.
So there's no sense putting that into this particular
Right.
document.
So
Right.
if they don't like Ryan's saying you need to pay half a fee or 3/4 fee or a fee, they can come to the board and we'll determine if they're Brian is being fair or unfair. So I'll agree with you, I don't think that we cover some of that in new form, because we have that already, I assume you guys had rules on that, that agreed to. So we have arbitration already built into our system.
Sure.
So I'm gonna wait on this as far as presenting a public hearing to adopt an ordinance until I hear from you, correct? On the solid waste permit. Okay. And in the meantime, if anybody has suggestions or how this can
And I
be,
think we should
better.
add the word construction.
no, we should not. We absolutely should not.
Is this something that we need to run it by Tara?
I think it's a good idea,
Okay,
and I will email that to her right now, and just see if this is something, you know, that we can even do if we're not assessing a fee. I don't know why we can't, and the reason I'm very much against a construction permit, because then it looks like a building permit, we do not
Okay,
have
well,
building
Let me
permits.
rephrase it for a minute. Building waste permit.
Solid waste permit. Call it what it is, it's a solid waste permit.
she's unbending on this one.
I'm not gonna bend on that one, no.
Would you share with her our rough plan too, and just make sure
Yep,
that
absolutely,
we're within the confines of the law?
absolutely.
Thank you. John?
If you were done with that part there, I had one question for your people. Brian had a person from out of the district that wanted to dump in our canisters in our district, and he had mentioned it, I don't know who you told it to, DOR, I assume.
There's been so many of them, I tend to forget.
But anyway, if people wanna be in the system, they wanna pay their fees, but for some reason, they don't get added onto their tax bill. And you said you mentioned it twice on one person. Is there something?
They wanted to opt in and they wanted it included on their tax notice.
Is there a way that you could email us? If
That's what I
somebody
did.
comes, oh,
And it didn't get done.
oh,
Okay. So you can mail me, email me, I'll get you my email address, I'll email you and stuff like that. And that, how long ago did you do that? Just not too long ago?
2015 was the first
Okay.
one. And I just checked it here a couple months ago and it
It was 3 months ago.
Okay. And then some of the backtracking on this, because I've just been thinking about, you know, you got like like I said, about 2,022 residences. But not everybody gets the solid waste fee, because it's a district, right? So not every single person's applied. So I was just thinking, I could pull a report for everybody that has a solid waste fee. And then the ones that don't would be a shorter list. And then we can go through that shorter list and check to see who should have it and who doesn't have it.
I've been wanting to get a report like that for years.
So I have one report, I have a couple, and I'll work with you on that, and we'll get that done this year.
Can you also make a report that tells how many solid waste fees that they have?
Because there are, like,
Yeah, and I'll show you, if you
commercial
come
units
up,
might have 2 or 3 or 4.
yeah, let me, after the meeting, I have an Excel spreadsheet, when you come up to Jess's office, and we'll take a look at what I've pulled so far, so.
Can do.
Okay, awesome.
You don't have the ability to do
well, and you know, we noticed, when we were looking at a report that was pulled from Black Mountain, that there's like 3 or 4 that have a number of permits on them, and then there's a total, but then there's some that just have a total.
Yeah, I don't know
So-
how that happened.
Yeah, so we were looking through, so there might be one that has 2,000 and whatever, or there's, you know, and then there's some that have like 5 assessments at 128, and then you have the total, but some don't have the 5, have nothing, but they have more than 128, so.
Yeah, there's like a
I don't know how that-
So I
$2,000
don't,
charge or
so
something.
we'll,
And I found out, like, there's one apartment building down here, there's like 4 apartments in there. Might be a small house back behind there, but it's been assessed 9 fees. But then you've got, like Broadwater Villas over here, that I don't know how many apartments there is. There's 1 fee in that.
so
So there's
in
a lot
our,
of inconsistencies, like, and the post office has like 10 fees on it.
yeah, and I don't know about who, like on the commercial, how many fees go to what
You don't have that,
commercial business.
you don't have
We'd
that.
have to get with you to get what you would want in the system, because it's not us to decide, well, they should get 10 or they, but in the Orion system, and I know other counties, we have living units. And we could go by living unit, so if it's a 4-plex, there's 4 living units. If we put a 4 in there, they should really get 4.
Right, but that's not always accurate, because I looked
Assessments.
at like the Montana Cadastral, and some of them have, there's residences on there, but they said 0 living units.
Okay, I can probably answer that question, because when I became the lead appraiser and I was coming out here and working Broadwater County, and it's like, well, how come there's no living units on here? So I put 1 and 1 and 1. I was told that Broadwater County does not even go off of that. So they said, so we don't put that in. So, and I don't know if that's correct or not correct. Because I know that like in Lewis and Clark County, we'll just use that as an example, the treasurer's office uses those numbers to assess how many dump fees they get. And so I was told that Broadwater County does not go by that, they just go by, and I don't even know how, you know, they would figure out what the dump, you know, how many dump fees are. And so, you know, I started putting those in there and they go, no, they don't go off that, so I quit putting those in there. And if that's a way to track that, we can definitely, as we're going into properties, we can start putting however many dwellings or living units they have on their property,
That would be helpful.
okay?
Because then if it's a 4-plex, technically shouldn't they get 4 fees, you know? So then we can pull like every, you know, apartments. I can pull all the apartments, or, you know, duplexes, 4-plexes, or multi-families. And if you have like 100 of them, again, you're lucky it's a small county, then we can go in and put those living units on and make sure that those, because those would be, because a single family, you get 1, that's easy enough. We're talking about the bigger stuff, how much should town pump have, how much, that would all be, we can give you a list of all the businesses, and Brian can decide what business gets how many assessments, because do businesses use more trash than residents, but is there a set thing that Broadwater does for them? We got a little work ahead, you guys.
Typically with
Yeah.
databases
What,
and
just thinking.
that kind of thing, bad data is usually worse than no data.
Right.
So
Garbage in, garbage out.
if we're putting bad data in databases, we need to stop that.
Yeah,
So that's where we're at right now.
But it's still be healthy to have living units.
so we'll
Yeah.
start putting living units
Yep.
in.
Can you go back and put them in
Yep.
on the cadastral?
Well,
Yeah,
we
we
don't, we don't really use cadastral anymore, that's, we have a website that Department of Revenue has, that's like cadastral, but, depending on what year it is, like, right now, if you go onto that website, you're gonna see 2017 information. And if anything's been updated, you aren't gonna see the 2018, because they have not rolled over to 2018 yet as far as assessments go.
Because I was doing a search, and I don't know if it was on DOR or not, but it has different, I don't want to say, areas that you can go look at. You can look at tax rolls, bill. It also has a cadastral on there that you can refer to, and different things.
It's Gastrel.
Probably the
And
county.
if you go to revenue.mt.gov, that's the Department of Revenue's website, and you go into property, and then you go into property, and then you can go in and look at any property in there, and that's coming directly out of Orion, our computer system.
So it's more accurate.
John, I will
It
tell you,
takes a little while for the
cadastral is a good place
cadastral
to
to-
start. Don't rely on all the information because it's not necessarily correct.
The cadastral, it's
No.
old, yeah, they don't
And some of it
update
overlaps
It's
and,
never
yeah.
correct,
it's-
hardly.
Cadastral gets updated like once every 3 to 6 months.
If that.
Yeah, if that.
So where you're inputting living units is not on the cadastral then?
It,
Well, it could be.
it would probably show on there, but if we were to enter it today, it might be 6 months before you see it on there. Where, like on the personal property mobile homes, now that they have, the assessments have gone out on those, if we go in and put one living unit on all those, tomorrow, you know, if we get it all done today, you know, just hypothetically say today, it will cycle overnight. Tomorrow, if you go into one of those properties, you will see a living unit on those.
That'd be handy.
On the revenue page.
I didn't know about the revenue page.
Yeah, the other part of the Department of Revenue page, revenue.mt.gov, they're creating, creating a box that you can click for government, county like officials like yourselves and Doug, and they've been filling since we're closing, and they're putting, it's a directory of everybody's name, who would do what, balancing, talk to so-and-so, property, talk to Jess or Wanda, and that will have, everybody's name, their phone number, email. So they're
That'll
working
help.
on that for you guys too, so.
Thank you.
So, okay, so we'll look at like single-family residences, they're one living unit. Any of the multifamilies, if it's a fourplex, 4 units, threeplex, 3 unit, 3. And then commercial, we'll get a list of all the commercial buildings. I think I looked at it, it was about 375 in Broadwater. We'll write that list up, maybe get together with Brian, and then we can talk about Brian can let us know how many solid waste assessments for each business that he would want us to put on there for you. Phew.
Sound good, Brian?
Sure.
All right.
Right?
These reports that you sent to Dawn, maybe, I don't know if it'd be helpful. I've got copies of them if you wants to have a little bit of business. I think you, or did those, did you, Doug?
Yeah, we got that, that's the stuff we got from the June reg report.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But it's
Off
a
of our-
little different than what your numbers, you were saying, like on business, it's 400 and some.
She might be talking countywide too, or ours is just solid waste district, I think.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And then quantity.
That one, you just have to divide it by 128 to get the total number.
Okay.
It just gives you the amount of revenue for which.
And we do have a new June, Stacy Sinclair, she's working out of, Boulder right now. So she'll be coming in and she's starting April 30th, so 2 weeks from Monday. And she has good Black Mountain experience, she's worked on and off for us, the DOR since 2007. So I think that's a good asset, we stole her. She was gonna have to, that office is closing and she was gonna have to drive to Butte. So we were able to offer June's job, she gets a little bit of a pay increase, and then she comes to Helena. So, it's a good steal.
Excellent, nicely done.
I think that'll be helpful.
Gee, and she doesn't
she's
have to drive
Tracy-
Elkhorn
do you guys
Elkhorn
have-
Park in the winter time or anything.
Yeah, that was tough on her,
Yeah.
yeah, so, and she's Tracy Grimm, you know Tracy Grimm?
Oh,
She's her
okay.
daughter,
Okay,
that's her daughter. Mhm.
yeah.
So I thought that will be really helpful for us.
Mm-hmm. Anything else?
I don't believe anybody else got anything.
I just want to say this is probably the most productive meeting with Department of Revenue I've ever sat in with.
Oh, thank you.
And Ann's been here a long time.
A long time. good.
I do really appreciate you guys coming down and all the work you've been doing.
So I have
so
a question, once again, about, we're working on the RFP, which I understand has been tabled. What's hauling solid waste to whatever landfill. But the current landfill that we go to, it was brought to our attention if we changed it to a different landfill, then Tri-County would be required to haul everything to the transfer station. So working on this permit on new construction for construction waste, can't use the word construction, solid waste. I guess what I'm asking is to work the best we can, because we don't know if it's gonna be at our transfer station or taken direct.
I think
Because if they rent a canister from Tri-County,
they'll haul it direct to their landfill. I asked them that question.
so that's not gonna be an issue.
If the customer calls up and orders a canister from Tri-County, they will haul that directly to their landfill and bill them. It won't be.
Yeah,
So
there's
then-
nothing, there'd be nothing involved with the county there
No.
whatsoever.
Okay, then that resident shouldn't have to pay to get rid of waste on their permit, on their form.
Oh, I hear ya. Yeah, we
They
can have.
would have to show some kind of a receipt from Tri-County.
Right?
Mhm. And then have that on record and.
Yeah.
Okay, I
Yeah.
just didn't know how that would play out, but Brian answered it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. No, thank you ahead of time. You guys have a lot of work ahead of ya. So thank you.
You gonna meet upstairs, you said?
Did you need anything else? Did we need to
No.
address anything else about the office closing or anything?
No, 25th, is that
Yeah,
still the
so
date?
the Thursday, next Thursday,
Okay,
we'll come out if you wanna do a walkthrough, so I guess you guys are moving in, we can vacuum and clean up a little bit and make
See
sure.
if you get your deposit back.
Yeah. And, yeah, and make sure like, we didn't leave anything behind that you guys didn't want, basically.
okay,
Just to be a good tenant.
and you'll paint and,
Yeah, do
Put up
us
new
some
curtains.
paint, wash the carpets and, you know.
Toothpaste in the holes in the wall.
Oh, that's a good trick, huh?
That's what I always do when I move out.
life skills you learn in
You're
college.
smelling.
I always got my deposit back.
Hey Roz, when somebody moves out, check those holes.
Holes are smelling, I have a fourplex in. Okay, do you wanna, so,
Thank
you.
boy, Wanda and I pulled reports, we wanted to make sure we got all the solid waste on those mobile homes not attached to real, so we deciphered, we have a total of 360 mobile homes not attached to rail in Broadwater. We have, right now, 343 have solid waste fee on it, so we're missing some, but then
Well, we got 300.
Brian just said like J24 doesn't get some, so I just wanted to check which, so if we can check which districts are, or which levies are in, which, yes.
I agree with you. This was a good meeting. Yeah, I was hoping you could.
Is there about 13? Hey, how do we know, how do we, yeah, do we have, and you guys might have a map to show what your different districts are?
Nicole said that.
So J24 is like 3/4, so they don't pay, they don't have a dump.
And I love the, we'll make it work. Attitude, that's
So they don't get it, so
Anybody
there are
got
about, what,
anything
about 10 of them, and we'll check the other J24s.
Motion to adjourn.
You betcha.
Second motion, we are adjourning at 2:38. Thank you, Ann.
You're welcome.
Oh, mobile not attached, okay, so we took, remember we took a couple that were unreal, that pulled up